Priyanka. We'll see. But you announced. It's okay, I can change. Huh? Yes, yes, it is full screen perspective, but we're just seeing. Yeah. That's what. That's what. But yeah, yeah, just speak. Just speak. Comedy, probably. Stand up. I know. Rose Priyanka. So terrible. Do two for. Why do you? That's you shouldn't go to Delhi. Coming. Like green conscious. Yeah. Eco friendly. Heard those words? Not yet. Try to be. So, what do you think? What do you do to be eco friendly? Like one thing.
Not use like recycle. I mean, recyclable is one bit, but try to use non-paper glasses. Always have your bottle with you. Fill those. So yeah, that's something. Try to use less paper as far as you can. Yeah.
That's a lot. Amazing. Thank you. You want to tell us what you do?
I carry this pouch of utensils. So, like metal, a stainless steel spoon, a fork, straw, a knife, and I think a butter knife. So, I carry this around with me everywhere. So, I try not to take plastic stuff. And also, when we have tender coconut and all that, I just use that straw, go home and clean it. There's a cleaner, that straw cleaner also with it. Yeah, so it's quite good.
Anyone else wants to share?
Yeah. To reduce plastic, use my bottle always. And like she was mentioning, minimal use of plastic and paper.
No, I was asking any green initiatives or any eco-friendly things that you practices that you follow in life.
Like we have these apps, Blinkit and all. There I try not to use the carry bag, etc. And I like to take care of plants. That's the only green thing I can think of. I always have a bottle on my desk, so that way.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I see her walking.
Why would they stop the music?
Just type her thing on Skype. She'll come up on Ibnii.
just as I was asking all of you green practices or sustainable practices that you all do, now our talk is by Priyanka Shenoy, who is the Chief Concept Officer at Ibnii Kurg. And she will be talking about the sustainability in hospitality and other places in life and other things as well, right? Yeah. So please, it's my absolute honor to welcome her to the UnConference stage. Please.
Please, yeah. Of course. Can I just sit down here? Is that okay? So I'm going to sit down if that's okay. Yeah?
Yeah, I'll just get you a chair.
No, here. Right here. No, why sure? Yeah, I'm very sure. It's a very informal space, right? Thanks. No, I'm good. Hello, everyone. I hope all of us have eaten our lunch. It means time to snooze, not good for me. No. To quickly talk about sustainability in hospitality in general and sustainability in Ibnii. Ibnii Spa and Resort is a eco-sustainable resort in Coorg. And this step towards sustainability was taken in the year it started, 2016. And we continue to explore and transition to trying to be more and more sustainable. Yes, we are not shying away from the fact that we are a luxury resort. So therefore, we have to figure out how we are going to manage both the spaces, being sustainable and giving luxury to our guests. So what is sustainability? Everybody knows. It's an overused word these days. So I would like to think that it's something, I would like to change it to saying that it's conscious living rather than being sustainable, because it is impossible to be completely sustainable, I believe so. There will be something that seeps into the life where it is unavoidable. We have the medical conditions that we go through or anything that we require will bring in some amount of items that are not sustainable. But yeah, coming from there, for me the thought comes as how sustainable are we not only in this whole space of environment, about sustainability in relationships, sustainability in everything that we do, right? Because that's also very important. But in hospitality, the fact is that we have to, there are certain rules and regulations that people follow, in the sense that, the linen that we use I don't know how many of us know this, but the linen that we use in the rooms and other places cannot be used for more than certain number of wash. Not because it's gone bad or it's rough or anything like that. It's just the rule, right? So then how do we do this? So as taking this step towards being conscious in conscious tourism, what Ibnii has done is we've tried and figured out certain different ways of doing this. So number one is how we procure things. When we buy things, how are we buying it? So we have a discussion as to how are we going to dispose this, what is the durability of this, and do we actually need it? So apart from the reuse, recycle and reduce, we are also talking about refuse. So one of the main things that we have done is that we have discarded completely the toiletries that we are giving in the rooms. And we tell our guests much in advance that please bring your own toothbrushes and toothpaste and your combs, because I know that most of the hotels and resorts have gone into bamboo toothbrushes, wooden combs and all of that. But the fact is that that is also going to be a luxury in some time. We'll not be allowed to use that because we are chopping trees to do that. We have to grow bamboo, and where is it growing? On land, which means we are not allowing other things to grow there, and it's a machinery that is used. Yes, it's a much better product to use than the plastic.
not denying that, but we said that it's not such a big deal to, carry our own toothbrushes. So this is where it is. We get a lot of slack for it. We are being called like, oh, you're trying to make money and all of that, but yeah, no, that's not what it is. There's hardly anything. It's just that one step ahead. And we have a very strict waste policy. So to say, it's not just about wet and dry garbage. We go into further having the vegetable peels and fruit peels separately, where we take it to our farm and feed the goats and cows with it, because we need the dung for our coffee plantation. So Ibnii is a 125-acre resort, the property is, where we have utilized only 60 acres for our resort purpose. And that's our main revenue, not a coffee plantation. Coffee plantation is just 20 acres, and we don't sell our coffee. We don't sell anything else outside, because the main thumb rule of sustainability is you have enough for everyone's need, but not greed, right? So the moment it becomes a cash crop or we're trying to sell it, then we move to another level of, it becomes something else. So we don't do that. Luckily for us, the owners are, okay to forego this whole thing. We don't have walk-ins who come to use the pool, or, just, because it's very difficult to understand why we don't have a radiation tower. We don't have network inside the property. We only work on Wi-Fi. And then we don't use any preservatives, no additives, no color, no sugar in any of our food. I know there's a huge debate about sugar and jaggery, but that's not why we don't use, that's not only why we don't use sugar. Sugar is very processed, and therefore it is more harmful to the environment than jaggery is. So that's where we come from. And our tagline says surrender to nature, which means that we have to have upkeep nature for people to surrender to. And upkeep of nature happens only from people. It is not going to happen by itself. And as people, if we are not well, then we cannot keep, the nature. So therefore, the wellness part of stay healthy. We have only electrically operated vehicles inside and CNG. No diesel operated vehicles inside the property. And yeah, so our AQI is anywhere between 8 to 14. Anyone from Delhi here will probably get a shock if you come to Ibnii. No, I'm just teasing. But yeah, having said that, it's a luxury. It's a luxury in that form is how I look at it, more than the luxury that we expect from a 5-star resort. Any questions you have for me, you can ask. And yeah, that's basically who we are, and that's how we are. We do have jacuzzis in our rooms. We have 22 pool villas with jacuzzis, and that goes against the concept of sustainability, because all that water goes waste. But having said that, we do not operate the jacuzzi in summer at all. We're completely self-sustainable with water. We're not tapping into groundwater. It's only rainwater we've collected in 5 different ponds that we store and conserve and we use. We're probably the only resort in Coorg that is completely sustainable when it comes to water. And this is something that was planned long time ago when the resort was built, right? We saw spots where water can be stored, and we dug it deeper inside, and we did all of this. And yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, that's about it. And of course, one last thing, we charge our guests for wasting food on their plate. So any guest who's found wasting food, we collect 100 rupees for every 10 grams of food that's wasted. Because we believe, it doesn't come from a moral point at all. I'm sure nobody takes food to say that I'm going to eat some, I'm going to waste some. We all take because we love to eat, and then somewhere we have lost the appetite, and then we leave food. So basically it comes from a space to say it is more and more difficult to grow food. And if we are going to take and waste it, it is criminal waste. So that's where it comes from. And sadly, once we have put this cost tag to this, it has worked. Until we put the cost tag, it did not work. I say sadly because it is sad. And from 14 buckets of wet waste on a full occupancy, it's come down to 1 bucket now. So, and the money that we collect, we don't keep it. We take it to an orphanage in Madikeri. There's a girls' orphanage. And we don't buy, and we don't give the cash, so to say. We buy something that they require, like a solar panel or a washing machine or fans or whatever that is. And this is what it is. And it seems a little bit foolish if there are any business corporate people here, because we are foregoing a lot of profits when we say no to walk-in guests, when we say no to, if guests tell us that we don't like your waste policy, so that is the deciding factor for us to book X number of rooms. You're like, no, that's unbendable. So yes, but it's lovely. So thank you. I think I've covered most of it. Yes, tell me.
So you said it's not exactly for the profits, right? So what was your purpose when you wanted to start this resort? Was it to inspire other resorts, or, you know?
Yeah. So I didn't start the resort. I work in the resort as a chief concept officer. Now this
Okay.
term itself is unheard of in hospitality. Concept officer is not something that's there in hospitality, but we do have a concept and we need to upkeep it. So therefore I am here. So the idea, see, it's not profit. There is lesser profit. If there was somebody else who wanted to make a good economic model out of it, would have definitely put more than 47 rooms in 125 acres, right? The more rooms you have, the less your expenses are. That's not what we have done. The profit is not as much as it could have been. The idea of having something like this is the fact that we want it to be like this. The brand is like this, the owners are like this. So no, very less chopping of trees, very, very less. So our pathways are very narrow, and if I see a buggy coming from there, I have to stop here because it's really narrow, and those kind of things. And more than anything else, creating employment was one of the factors that had the owners to start the resort. I had the privilege of talking to the owner on this, and this is what it was. And the MD of the resort was also the owner, Sherry Sebastian. Her main thing was that we can have luxury, environmental stability or consciousness, wellness, and run a business. That was the main thing.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Priyanka, I have a question. First of all, I think it's lovely what you're doing. Looks more like a North Star, Pole Star, which is good. But I'm also playing around with the word sustainability in my mind, and I feel this sustainable practice, which is a pilot project that's working for you, how do I make that sustainable? Because if I think from a business perspective, let's say, what you're doing is amazing. Now I'm your rival resort night right next to you. What's my incentive to do the same? On one side, I understand the morality of it or how it's good for me, but I feel the way the infrastructure and the business system that's there, I think it works on either incentive or punishment. So yes, I would love to be inspired, but that's me. But if there are 100 more business owners who might not have the access to such sort of motivation or information, how do we get that there? Or do we want to just set an example and leave for people to pick up? Or do we actually have some sort of system that can sort of promulgate into the actual workforce that goes around in an area?
Absolutely, it's a beautiful question. Very difficult answer, very difficult to answer. So yeah, I would say that, see, one is the motivation factor where I think the motivation is initially when nobody else is doing it and there is no requirement of it, right? Right now we are at a stage where we have no choice, I would say. Like in 2 years' time, less than 2 years' time, we have to come to a stage where we are saying that we are all segregating the garbage. We cannot. So I would think that there is no choice if that is the whole thing. There is not going to be left any choice to adapt to sustainability or not as we move forward. But apart from that, there is a factor which is basically when you are sustainable, I think the factor that can be self-motivating is you're not relying on outside sources. Like for example, when there was, I know lockdown is not a great example, but having said that, we were not relying on anything outside. We had our own vegetable patches and we had about 70 employees still staying with us. We had 170 staff together just for a small resort. But we had 70 employees staying with us and we were completely self-sustainable when it came to, we needn't have relied on anything outside. So I think that is a very important factor because the moment you decide to, like for example, I'll give you the example of Coorg. Coorg, in all places in Coorg are beautiful, all places in Coorg are gorgeous, and there is opportunity to store water in any space in Coorg you choose to. Because the ground is so pure and porous that there is water spring coming from everywhere and anywhere. So it's not a big thing, it is not even a big monetary decision to make to store. So I would think educating would be one of the things to do to show that this is something that can be done and it is easy for you in future. Now, how do you keep that sustainability alive is completely dependent upon the management, senior management. It is. That's the only thing. There's no other way. Because it just takes that one decision to say, no, tomorrow I'm not going to send my garbage all the way to Mysore because it's an extra expense. Though Mysore is the only place around Madikeri that ethically recycles garbage. In Madikeri, it's just a dump yard in a place called Stone Hill, which is very sad. On one side, you see this beautiful, quaint town, Madikeri, and you just turn back 50 meters away from you is 20 feet of garbage. And it's only coming from tourism, no? Because if they all had estates, it wouldn't be there. But am I saying that don't make money with tourism? I can't. No, my bread and butter comes from this. So, yeah, so I don't know if I've answered your
No,
question.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Everything, you are very dependent on yourself, self-dependent, self-reliant, and everything is sustainable. What if somebody has to scale it? So you are in Coorg. What if somebody has to follow your example in some other part of the world? How do they do it? Also, this is a very conscious choice from the management that they are able to do it because they are foregoing a large share of the profits, the potential profits, I would say. What if the other people don't have that option? So how do they still become profitable and make sustainable or conscious choices to keep the world healthy, earth healthy?
So I'll answer that question first. So the thing about sustainability is not to be moralistic and say that we have to be sustainable in every single way possible, right? It is not. That's what I started with. It is not possible. Like I said, we are not completely sustainable. We are not being holier than thou. There are problems that is there. There are things that happen which has to be brought under control. Like our jacuzzis are a solid example. I mean, the jacuzzis were already there before we could decide whether, it was small steps towards being sustainable. It was not one large leap and said, oh, we are sustainable from tomorrow, midnight strike of the clock. No, it was not like that. So the jacuzzis were already there. Now to remove these jacuzzis would take so much more unsustainability. So we let them be there, and then we took this decision that come summer, we are not going to operate them because it's a crime to waste so much water in summer. Now, this is something everybody can do. That's what I believe in. So even in my house, I might not be able to ask everyone to be sustainable and say make sensible choices, you have to do this and you have to do that. I'm going to land up with no relationship in me, right? So to be able to be sustainable in what I can do is what I would see. Like, for example, a small example would be to carry my own water bottle, right? That's the least I can do, and say that, okay, today I have not bought any water bottle outside. That itself is enough, is what I say. But having said that, when we grow larger and larger, it does get diluted. Unless you have a separate body to do this. Like, we kind of have like a balance sheet where we are saying that why did so much of garbage go out this time? Why did we have so many unrecyclable plastic? Like, what happened? Who ordered more? Like, who's approving these indents? What is happening in this field? So we do this constant search. That's why my post. So it's an added expense to hire me and keep me doing that. But yeah, having said that, yes. To answer your first question, we are not completely sustainable. I don't know if that is possible, but we try to be as much as possible. Like with the water bottles, we have not had mineral water bottles since 2016. Because we have our own water, right? So we don't charge for the water. It is not our water. Yes, it's in our land, but it's not what I'm generating. It's there from the land, yeah. Thank you all. And we do have a little coffee place if you want to chat up more. We're giving some chuku kapi. Thank you.